with us, those 10 full-time coaches, plus including myself, all intact. I can't put a price tag on how important that is, just because there's so much continuity. The staff understands what I'm expecting from them, but also too, we have a bunch of key returners coming back on this football team too, and so they understand exactly what we're trying to do too. We're not trying to install new schemes, offense, defense, or special teams. It's all there. Coaches are able to flow into practice, and coach the special teams drills. The continuity it's really kind of almost unheard of in the world we're living in right now. And so to have that, I think, is super special for us. And then just piggybacking on Caden, huge to have him back. Excited with his progress and where he's come along with that shoulder rehab. And he's out there. He's a coach on the field for us right now. He's able to throw a little bit during Indy today, and he's progressing along.
Do you expect to see Caden much this spring? And if not, what capacity do you think he'll work into practice?
Yeah, his rehab is coming along very, very well. It's tracking right now where he'd be able to really do some stuff those last 2 weeks maybe of spring ball. What I'm actually going to allow him to do, we'll see what he's looking like at that point. Definitely plan on getting him involved in some 7-on-7 and some scripted, non-chaotic periods for sure. I don't know if I'll let him ever go out and do a team period or not, even if they clear him to do that, to be honest with you. Just because we got to have him ready to rock and roll in August. But he's progressing really, really well. Working really hard at the rehab, up here all the time. And biggest thing is being a leader for his teammates right now. So definitely expect to see him doing some drill work towards the end of spring there. And right now, even today, he threw some balls for us in Indy.
He's not the only one. There were several other guys who were held out, but they've almost built their resume, and what they can do. Does this give you a chance to look at some of the new guys, or maybe some guys at different positions for the spring?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're talking 3 starters on defense are out as well with shoulder rehab as well, and Deshaun Batiste, KJ, and Leon Hart. They're out for the spring, and again, you saw them out there running around in a non-contact jersey. Able to do a little bit here and there, but clearly we're gonna never put the shoulder pads on those guys and let them do contact stuff. So just trying to get them moving, get them into some individual drills and some stuff that they're allowed to do. But it's a kind of a double-edged sword. You definitely don't want any 4 of those shoulder guys out. And then you have like a Jacavian Nonar with the knee as well on the offensive line. You're starting left tackle. You never want those guys out for spring ball. But what it does do is it does give other guys opportunities to come in and maybe get more reps than they maybe would have gotten. And so it's good both ways.
Questions?
Coach, for the spring, it sounds simple, but is it the goal just to get better as a group? Is it that simple?
Yeah, it really is. Again, I was Coach Lee comes up to me about every 15 to 20 minutes at practice and asks, "How's it going? How's it going? How's it going? How's it going?" And I told him my whole job is, at the end of the day, there may be a period or two that there's a winner or a loser, like offense versus defense, if you will. But at the end of the day, we got to get better as a unit, as a whole 100 plus players on the team right now. We got to get better. So we've got to find out, again, we got a lot of new faces. So we got to find out, what we're good at, what our players can be the most successful at. We got to find, in the secondary, for example, we got to find who are our best 5 secondary players and where do they fit best to give us our best shot, going into the fall. And same thing with like offensive line right now. I mean, you have one guy that's really played a lot of college football coming back in that room for spring. We're very young, not necessarily young, but inexperienced, if you will. And that's in Vinny. And Vinny's playing a new position that he didn't play last year. And so we're very kind of trying to figure out that offensive line for spring. But again, you'll come back and you'll get some guys back as well. But yeah, definitely, ultimate goal is just to get better, as a team and come out healthy. That's always the biggest thing. It's always, coaches, we're all chomping at the bit to get these 15 spring practices in, right? Because we want to see who we have. But at the end of the day, it's always about, hey, what does that entry list look like today after practice? Day 1, knocking on some wood here, we came out healthy, which is great. But yeah, just looking forward to seeing how we can gel as a team and how we can find our best players to go win football games this fall.
When it comes to this offense, taking a look at what 2025 looked like and now heading into this spring, what do you think is the biggest adjustment you personally made in terms of how you want to deploy this offense and really utilize the players in this game?
Yeah, I think it just starts with personnel, overall. I feel like we really reloaded. We lost some good receivers, absolutely, but I think we reloaded with some guys that are going to be tremendous football players for us. I mean, again, I've coached him, I recruited him, but Kelby Valson, man, I mean, I'm telling y'all, he's a difference maker. He caught a 60-plus yard touchdown here just second go in practice. I mean, the dude can really, really go. I think we improved in the running back room tremendously as well. Really excited about those guys. You know, we've got a bunch of, you know, different skill sets in that running back room, and I'm excited to see what we can do there. And to see at the end of the day who's going to be kind of the guy that takes over in that room. And then tied in too offensively. I mean, I think with the addition of the guys we took at the tight end room, I'm excited there. You know, because again, last year we were a little bit one-dimensional in our personnel groupings at time, and I just felt like that was my philosophy was put the best 11 dudes on the field, no matter what personnel that is. And I felt like last year 10 personnel was our best bet, you know. And so I'm hoping this year you're going to look out there and you're going to see a little bit more 11 and some 12 and be able to run the football and some of those short yardage downs and some of that stuff. But at the same time, the progress of the offense is a little bit slower again, because now you have the no experienced quarterbacks coming in the spring as well. You know, you have some guys that were here last year, but you also got 2 brand new guys in Drew and JD coming in that haven't been here at all. So, you know, Magwood's got a really good grasp on the offense right now. He had a pretty solid day today. Michael Valentino as well. But as far as like played a lot of college football, we don't have a guy in that room. And so we're going to just keep progressing the offense and see what we look like here when we get through with these 15.
You know, to bring back Caden and Easton together, you know, how does that impact not only the offense, but the camaraderie and the chemistry of the team as a whole? Because those guys are arguably 2 of the best players on offense last season.
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest thing is they're great dudes. You know what I mean? Like off the field. Like we have such great team camaraderie. You know, a few weeks ago, and I know it was a weekend. I think Vel Camp told me there's like 40 or 50 dudes all went and hung out at the beach together or whatever they had done. And so, like, to me, that's where it starts. Is them just being down to earth, just good humans that are great teammates that everybody loves to be around. And clearly, what they did on the football field last year speaks for itself. You know, I think when you have a receiver that catches over 100 footballs, people look at that, and that's really, really hard to do. And it's only happened a handful of times in college football in general. And so I think, you know, anybody that looks at numbers and stuff like that looks at Easton and they're like, okay, this is a real guy. But then you look at what Easton does on a daily basis to get his body prepared. I mean, the dude took a ton of shots last year and didn't miss a game. And I just think it's how he prepares on and off the field, how good of a person he is. And then Velkamp's in the same boat. You know, again, he's in a little bit of a different situation this spring because he's kind of not out there, but he's still got to play that leadership role. So I think it's huge just having those 2 guys back that have played a lot of college football, like we mentioned a second ago, and clearly they've got the chemistry there that isn't going away.
You know, last year you had mentioned that making a bowl game was the goal. Would you say that that's a similar goal this year, or do you have any other, you know, maybe loftier goals perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, the goal is always to find yourself in the championship game of this conference. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, that's the goal. But you got to get to the bowl game before you get to that, right? And so you got to get to that 6 wins before you can even have a chance to get to that conference championship game. And so, you know, I'll be honest, I haven't even used that word bowl game or conference championship or anything with the team at all right now. We're focused on just trying to figure out, again, what do we got to do as coaches, put our guys in the best situation to be successful. But yeah, you know, we got a tough slate this year. You know, we got a tough schedule. You know, we play in the American Conference, so they're all tough. But again, I feel really good with where we're at. Again, we got a lot of continuity back. We got some big time players here. You're going to get to talk to a couple here in a minute. We got one coming back that's I think poised to have a huge year. You got a newcomer in here that I think is poised to have a huge year as well. So we're just excited with where we're at, and you know, just kind of play it by ear and we go from there.
What was kind of the idea, you know, through the transfer portal? Obviously, you brought in a lot of new guys. What was kind of like the vision for the portal class this year?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to build it from the inside out. So when I say that, I'm talking O-line, D-line. You know, we put a lot of, I guess, our resources, if you will, into those rooms. And, you know, I feel like if we can, you know, get after the quarterback on the defensive line and stop the run, you know, being able to play more of a 2-high shell, we play more zone coverage that leads to turnovers and stuff like that, right? And so I wanted to get really a lot better on the defensive line compared to where we were last year. And then same thing on the offensive line. Again, you've got to be able to run the football when you have to. And at the end of the day, we are going to throw the football around. And so you got to be able to protect. And so it starts from the inside out. And again, I feel like we did a great job there. And I mean, man, I think our defensive line, you see our edges now, and again, you move Wilkie to inside a defensive tackle. You see that defensive tackle room right now. I think we're just night and day difference than we were last year. And again, we're still kind of trying to figure out the puzzle pieces a little bit on the offensive line with some injuries there, but I feel good with those guys and where we're going.
Coach, you handled a lot of responsibilities as the head coach, offense coordinator, and the quarterbacks coach last year as your first year as a head coach. So with those same responsibilities going into 2026, what were some of the biggest lessons you've learned about yourself as you look to be better going throughout the spring camp and throughout the summer and then the fall?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of said it, but I'm not changing those 3 titles for myself. I'm going to keep those rolling. I'm going to still coach the quarterbacks. Again, I got Coach Bass, who does a fantastic job, and he assists me all the time. So he does a lot of it too. But I still coach those guys, and I'm still going to call it, on Saturdays this fall. But again, it's all about time management and putting my time where I have to have my time, and not. I can't procrastinate, right? I got to get in, I got to get it done. I'm an early morning guy. I like to get here early, and I got my couple of hours to focus on myself and the things that I need to get done. But I've got to do a better job of putting myself in situations where I can be more accessible to everybody else. Special teams, which again, I'm very involved in special teams. I got to get more involved defensively, and again, not telling them what to run or what to call, but just giving them a voice of like, hey man, this is what's about to happen probably on an offensive side of the ball based off of what we're doing defensively, stuff like that. And so just stuff like that. But again, kind of new going into it. First year head coach, play caller, quarterback coach, all the stuff. You have a lot on your plate, but I think it all comes down to how you manage your time.
It is your second year. It is early, but heading into that second year, what do you think is the biggest adjustment you've made, as an overall head coach for this program? And looking toward the 2026 season, what will you deem a success for the overall season for this spring and over the course of the regular season?
Yeah, so I think for myself, again, I wasn't perfect by any means. You after every game, win or lose, you look back at everything you did. Hey, was that 4th down call I made smart? Or hey, should I have called a timeout when we were reeling on defense and they were playing fast? There's a lot of things like that. So again, probably just more than anything, getting more comfortable in those game-like situations for myself on. Again, like when to call timeouts, stuff like that, I feel like it's an area where I'm going to put more focus on. But again, we've got to practice those scenarios too. And so we're going to try to do that a lot this spring. And the second part of your question, sorry, one more time?
Looking at the overall spring and really the overall season.
Yeah. So again, Frank kind of hit on it a little bit ago. We're trying to figure out what we're going to stay healthy. That's always number one, most important thing. As we try to talk about taking care of your teammates all the time here. And again, you got the certain drills and stuff. You're going to have your winners and your losers. But at the end of the day, if we can look up after 15 practices, we have nobody with severe injuries. That's a win. And that's what a successful spring football looks like. Because we're going to get better in this next 15 practices. I have no doubt. Just because we got hungry football players that are here for the right reasons and trying to get them to continue to fall in love with the process of what we're doing here. But to me, that's the biggest win in the spring. Stay healthy. Continue to get these guys to buy into our culture, into our process, and what we're trying to accomplish. Because again, you do have a lot of new faces that are coming from completely different processes. So we got to get these new guys to buy into what we're doing. And then again, we're gonna get to the fall. We get to the fall, we'll see what that looks like then.
Coach, you had a little bit of a changeover on the running back room. You mentioned him earlier. I know one of the fellows that you brought in, I believe he's back there.
Yep.
Asked for him today. Can you just comment a little bit about Leonard and what he's going to be bringing to the table versus what we had before? I know the build is a little different.
Yeah, no doubt. Again, I'm going to start with the human being that he is, man. Great dude. Everybody loves him. Brings the energy. Super hard worker. He got down here. He moved in. He got an apartment. He moved in early in January before he got started on his own. And was up here like in the weight room every single day on his own, just working when everybody else is still on Christmas break. And so I knew quickly that Leonard was a worker, you know what I mean? And, we talk about in our culture stuff, one of them is work hard, and be tough, and that he brings both of those things to the table. As far as the on the field stuff, and I'm sure you looked at his numbers, 1,500-yard running back, was up for the D2 Heisman, all those things. Dude's a lightning in the bottle, can catch out of the backfield. He's a one-cut runner, which means when he hits that hole, see ya. And I think that was an area where last year we didn't have that. And so I'm excited about that. But again, it starts with just his work ethic, who he is on and off the field as far as just a human. But then the dude comes in and he goes to work, and again, he can catch it, he can run it, he can pass pro. Again, you're gonna see him walk up here a little bit. He's jacked up pretty good, so he'll put his face on you whenever you try to blitz him as well.
Okay.